Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to To Be Determined. Today we are accompanied by Witherslayer. We're going to be doing some Bactes in the Colosseum. So if this video is helpful to you, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let's jump straight into it. Alright, so the Colosseum is over past the Black Lagoon. It is right next to the West Village right over here, but you will not be able to enter it until you've completed the Living Cave and gotten the time charm from there. So it does require a bit of progression, but we're going to go ahead and jump straight into it. So it does have a 15-minute time gate to be able to enter, but once you're inside, there is time dilation. So time goes 2 times slower in the Colosseum. So you'll notice it takes 2 seconds for 1 second to pass on my rift time. But the reason that there's all this slime on the ground is because this is what it looks like right after Bacte has been defeated. So Bacte must have just been completed by some players, so that's why all the slime's on the ground. This is what it will look like at the end. But Slayer brings up a good point. There is an eye here. So over here at the back of the Colosseum, you can kill the GUI and be able to teleport here whenever you want. So that's pretty useful. You will also need some of the Bacte fragments that you get from killing Bacte for the Reed's boat later on. So if we go ahead and warp over to the Lagoon Hut, then talk to Reed, then you will notice that his 5th item is 8 Bacte fragments. So you get 8 Bacte fragments every time that you kill Bacte. So just kill him once and then you can bring those back. But that's not what I recommend doing the first time. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump to the fight. So at the start, he is going to be just B. And to get him to start the battle, you will have to hit some of these globals into him. And every time you get one hit into him, it's going to make him grow. So the first hit on a global will just be a hit. The second hit will make the Bacte grow. And once you've hit all of them, then he's grown all the way up. And now he will plant a tentacle. So you have to shoot the bowls into the tentacle now. And once you've hit 4 on the tentacle, it will spawn a blobbercyst. So to kill the blobbercyst, you can either just melee it, or if you hit the glow bowls into him, then he will take 100 damage. So the blobbercyst that spawn from the tentacles will have 275 HP, but if you hit it with a glow bowl, he'll take 100 damage. So you just hit 3 of those into him and he'll die instantly. So the best strategy for the tentacles, if you're doing this solo or even with a group, if you can get everybody to be on the opposite side of the Colosseum from the tentacle, then when the blobbercyst is spawned in and the tentacle dies, he will not aggro on anybody, and you can just shoot him from far range and be able to take care of him really quickly instead of having to melee for like 25 damage every single time. So that's the best strategy to do it. But as you can see, we do have 5 people that have joined in on this battle, and that is definitely better than just fighting it solo. The fight goes by so much faster the more people that you have involved in it. So if you can find a lobby where people are grinding these out, then that's definitely going to be the fastest way to take care of these. But you're just going to keep hitting them into the tentacles, and there we go, the blobbercyst is down, and we are on the 2nd phase now. There are, if you haven't guessed, 5 phases to this fight, 1 for every letter. So now we are on phase 3, which is BAC. So BAC, there will be this border, and you have to get on the correct side of the border before the time is up, or you will start losing time. So if you're on the wrong side of the border before the time is up, then you will lose a whole 30 seconds, which can be quite a bit of a pain. And there was another thing that you guys probably saw, the tentacles coming up out of the ground, the plumes, these things right here where the red pops up. If you get hit by one of those, that's a loss of 10 seconds, I believe. So you also want to avoid those if you can. There are a lot of things that do end up popping up here as the fight goes on. Again, we're only on the 3rd of 5 phases. The 4th phase is by far the most difficult phase, and the 5th phase is kind of a freebie phase. But the 3rd and 4th phases take a very long time. As you can see, we have been going through this for a while. Once he pops up the tentacles so that we can shoot him down just like that, then that is when the phase is nearly over. It just, whenever we can get the tentacles down, the phase will end and he will shrink. We can melee him and then he will grow a letter. So during this phase, he will have, I believe there were 3 tentacles there at the start. Yep. And so now we can take down this last one. And again, we are up close, but we did get 1 of the glow bowls into him. So the fight goes by a lot faster, again, if you have multiple people to help kill the blobbercyst, help kill the tentacles. But since we took the tentacles down, he's shrunk down and we can melee him. And now he's going to go back and grow another letter. So we are on phase 4 now, which is the most difficult phase because this introduces the slime copter. If you get hit like I just did, that's 10 seconds lost, and it will change directions a few times. So that was one direction change. I think it goes through 3 total direction changes, and every time it increases in speed. So there's the second direction change, and you just kind of have to jump over it. If you do get hit by it, then that's not a terrible thing because you can just float over these slime blocks here and kind of be able to bounce that for a while. There was another direction change and another one, so I think that was 4 total direction changes, and it is at terminal velocity. This is the fastest it will go. Then it slows down, and then it's going to speed back up just a little bit again, just like that. So this is where it's going to stay for the rest of the fight. So we're going to have the copter going, those tentacles coming out of the ground, and the border all on top of each other. So it is a lot to keep track of. The main thing is just keeping track of the copter as you're running towards the border if you're not in the safe area. And really worrying about these plumes comes last because they're not really that much of an issue. They don't take up too much of the fight or too much of the arena. But during this 4th phase, the tentacles will not have 4 hits. They only have 3. So you only have to hit them 3 times with the glow balls, and then the tentacle will die and spawn a blobbercyst. And there are 4 tentacles on this phase. So I think the amount of tentacles goes along with how many letters Bacte has in his name at the time. But once we are done with this, then that will be the end of phase 4, and phase 5 is again the easiest one. Now the big thing that you do have to worry about during this entire fight is going outside the Colosseum. If you get hit, then you have to get back in the arena or you will die. It will spam it in your chat, and if you die, then you get teleported back to the wizard tower, which is a very much a big pain. So again, I do recommend getting that eye before you start any of these fights, just in case you do die. If you're by yourself, the fight will reset, but if you die and there's somebody else still in the arena, then the fight will continue. You'll just have to teleport back to be able to continue going into the fight and getting the loot. So if you're on phase 4 when you die and you're by yourself, you will reset to phase 1. But if you're on phase 4 when you die and somebody else is still in the fight will continue and you can join back. It'll still be on phase 4 or phase 5, depending on how long it takes you. So it's not too bad. And there we go. That was the last tentacle down, the last blobbercyst down. So now we can go and melee Bacte, and he's going to grow. Bacte is now Bacte, and we have our blaster enabled. So basically, we are just going to shoot the tentacles once they pop up. He's got the slime copter, but it doesn't really matter. We're getting thrown into the air during this entire section. And he does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total tentacles here. So you don't have to worry about the blobbercyst on this one, but you just got to shoot down the tentacles. So it's not too difficult. So you just take him out, and then he will shrink. You'll stop bouncing, and you can melee him real quick. And after you've gotten his health all the way down to 0, he'll die. You'll get 6k motes and 8 Bacte fragments. So again, you need 8 of these for the Reed's boat. You'll also need another 8 to get the globulate time charm, along with 20 shy cruxes. You'll need another 8 to make the chicken legs upgrade femur growth leg. And then you will need more of these later on with the vampire slayer in order to make an item called a blood badge that is required for the chest plate upgrade, the final time charm, as well as to make the legendary vampire dentist relic. So you'll need these blood badges, which require 2 Bacte fragments per. So there is one more thing though. There is actually an Enigma soul here. So there's a jump pad back here at the back end of the fight, and you can jump up here, talk to Mole. He'll say, wife asked me to get a can of worms, so you know I dig down to the grocery store. I must have missed it since I ended up here. Guess things tend to go full circle over time. Want to go full circle? Sure, let's go. Jump down to the pillar down there. So you're basically going to have to jump all the way over. You do have a nice little jump boost, but just jumping over to the green wool every time. And you can use your aspect of the leech to make some of these jumps take a little less time if you want, but you're basically going to go around the entire Colosseum jumping onto the green wool, and then once you've made it all the way around, you will get teleported up here and you can grab the Enigma soul. Alright guys, that's everything you can do here at the Colosseum, so I hope this was helpful. If it was, be sure to leave a like and sub if you haven't already, and the next guide that we're going to be doing is on Vampire Slayer, so stay tuned for that. Also, at 5,000 subscribers, we're going to be letting some people into my guild, so if you want a chance to join that, be sure to hit that sub button. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and I'll catch you in the next one. God bless.